Hi, this is John from NYC Geek Society, and today we have a little something for you theater geeks out there. I'm going to be talking about the musical Man of La Mancha, written by Dale Wasserman, which is, of course, an adaptation of Miguel de Cervantes' Don Quixote. Now, the reason why I specifically wanted to talk about Man of La Mancha today is today marks what would have been my grandfather's 100th birthday. And I was very close with my grandfather. He was pretty much a second father to me, and very much a mentor to me as well. And so, in honor of his memory, I wanted to talk about Man of La Mancha. Now, if you're not familiar with Man of La Mancha, I want to go into a little bit of the story. So, it follows Miguel de Cervantes, who wrote the book Don Quixote, as I said before. And it has it that he is taken prisoner by the Spanish Inquisition in the late 16th century. Now, it turns out this never actually happened to Cervantes, so Dale Wasserman took some liberties with the play. But anyway, so he's in prison during the Spanish Inquisition, and when they put him and his buddy down there, of course, the other prisoners come to kind of rush and steal their stuff. And they find the manuscript for Don Quixote. And for fire, they like to burn things. So they're going to burn the manuscript. And Cervantes, yells at them and basically convinces them that, before they burn it, at least let him argue why they shouldn't and tell them what the story is about. And I guess because they're bored and they got nothing better to do, they kind of let him do it. And so then he goes into telling the story of Don Quixote. And a little bit about the story of Don Quixote. It is about a nobleman named Alonso Quijano. And this guy, is getting up there in age. And all of his life, he's been sort of obsessed with stories about knights and, honor. And so as he is older now, he becomes a little bit, he gets a little bit kind of dementia, it seems, where he starts to believe that he is this knight named Don Quixote. And he was a very rich guy, so his family's not really happy about this, that he seems to be talking about that he's going to be fighting dragons and all these things. And especially when they get upset when he runs off and they can't find him. And so now that they're worried that he's going to die, but they won't be able to inherit all of his fortunes because no one will know that he's dead or where he is. Of course, they don't say it like that. They kind of make it that they're only thinking of him. That's, in fact, a song in the play. But you kind of follow his adventures. And what's so beautiful about the play, or about the story of Don Quixote, is that in his travels, he's at first seen as a madman wherever he goes and whoever he interacts with. But he believes in honor and truth and all of these noble things that he eventually ends up inspiring people wherever he goes. And sort of this delusion becomes more important than reality, in a way. And there's this magnificent scene in the play that was also actually in the movie that was directed by Arthur Hiller and starred Peter O'Toole and Sophia Loren in 1972. And so I'd like to show you a scene from the movie that I'm talking about, where, again, they're kind of cutting back to the prison that Cervantes is in, and he kind of goes into, seeing life as it is. So, here goes.
No! Oh! Oh! Ah!
Well, not this time. But you see, Cervantes, there is a difference between reality and illusion. And a difference between these prisoners and your men of lunacy.
I'd say rather men whose illusions were very real.
Much the same thing, isn't it, really? Why are you poets so fascinated with madmen?
We have much in common.
You both turn your backs on life.
We both select from life.
A man has to come to terms with life as it is.
Life as it is. I've lived for over 40 years and I've seen life as it is. Pain, misery, cruelty beyond belief. I've heard all the voices of God's noblest creature. Moans from bundles of filth in the streets. I've been a soldier and a slave. I've seen my comrades fall in battle or die more slowly under the lash in Africa. I've held them at the last moment. These were men who saw life as it is. Yet they died despairing. No glory, no brave last words, only their eyes filled with confusion, questioning why. I do not think they were asking why they were dying, but why they had ever lived. When life itself seems lunatic, who knows where madness lies? Perhaps to be too practical is madness. To surrender dreams, this may be madness. To seek treasure where there is only trash. Too much sanity may be madness. And maddest of all, to see life as it is and not as it should be.
So yeah, I love that line where he says, maddest of all, to see life as it is and not as it should be. It's just very powerful, and I think about that a lot. That with all the things going on in the world, do we just accept things the way that they are? Or do we imagine a better world and strive to achieve that? And that very much coincides with the things my grandfather taught me. He was very much about helping people and teaching people and making the world a better place any way that you can. And I strive to do that the best way I know how as well, through people that know me know that I write poetry, and maybe even trying to do this a little bit, you know, getting people to know about art and things that I find important. So yeah, something to think about. So now, before we end this video, I actually would like to read the lyrics to one of the songs in the play. And this is, again, very important to me because I remember when my grandfather took me to see it for the first time, when they started singing this song. The song's called The Impossible Dream. I actually looked at him, and it was the first time I saw my grandfather cry, where he was tearing up. And, you know, you might know that from, especially men of that generation, the greatest generation, you didn't really see them cry very much. But it's very emotional, and I think it hit him because the lyrics of this song, again, kind of match up with the way that he lived his life. So here goes. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know, if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star. So, yeah, it's pretty heavy for me too, because I actually read that at my grandfather's funeral, and I barely got through it. But yeah, he did that. He reached that unreachable star, and maybe I'll do the same. Hopefully, maybe if I stay true to this glorious quest, I'll lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. But yeah, to not end it on such a somber note. If you're interested in checking out more about Man of La Mancha, I would say you could get the movie. My personal opinion, the movie was a little bit over the top with the musical numbers, and it becomes a little bit cheesy. But otherwise, if you could find like a local production that is putting it on, definitely recommend checking it out. Unfortunately, it's not on Broadway anymore, but hopefully one day it'll come back. I saw it on Broadway when it came out in 2002. And but yeah, if you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your grandparents if they're still around. And NYC, geek out.